Hi guys. I've been trying to figure out how to put this into words. I went through a major shift lately and it's been intense. I've had a lot of revelations all at once and it's difficult to express it. But here we go. I'm going to start with a topic that I believe is one of the most fundamentally important to my healing and to my revelation. And that's the menstrual period. Yes, I'm going to start by talking about menstruation. Because just like almost any other expression of feminine energy in this world, menstruation hasn't been an exception, and it has been suppressed. It has been violated. It has been shamed. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about women who are being raped or sexually violated or abused with domestic violence and so on and so forth. Those are only some of the expressions. The way that we repress our feminine energy the most is we treat the very essence of feminine energy, the female reproductive system, the yoni, and the menstrual cycle, which is a sacred cycle, which before, industrialization and consumerism started, it was treated as a sacred cycle. It was consecrated, it was honored. Now it is shamed. It is degraded. It is ridiculed. And so we get so worked up when we see a spot of blood on a woman who is menstruating. However, it is normal to see violence on the TV screen. We get so shocked when a woman is displaying a breast in public, but we feel it is completely normal for people to kill each other in video games and in movies. And this is just one of the several signs that should make it very clear how sick this world has become. During our menstrual cycle, especially during the days before our menstrual cycle, a woman, because of her hormone changes, becomes super sensitive. She becomes like a kind of universal antenna that picks up on all these different energies around her. And because the world has so many toxic energy and horrendous things happening, naturally, the woman becomes more angry, more irritable, more nervous. And what do we do when we see this gift in women, when we see these reactions? Do we honor them? Do we praise them? No. We shame them. We say, oh, it's her period. It's those days. She's so overly sensitive. She's so emotional. She's so hormonal. Those things. We're degrading one of the best gifts that we have been given to be able to connect with our spirituality and with our true essence, feminine essence. And I want to talk about my period today because my period was the very catalyst for my own healing. You see, I started my healing journey first on a physical level, and then I went into the emotional level. And one of the first signs that I had that something was horribly wrong, majorly off in my life, came through my period. You see, as a teenager, I developed this horrendous disease where every time I had a period, I had pains so atrocious that I would scream in pain and I would sweat and tremble at the same time. And I couldn't do pretty much anything else. And when I went to other people and to the medical world to look for solutions, the first thing I was told was that this was normal. And the fact that we consider women suffering during their menstrual cycle or during birth normal is another one of those symptoms that shows how sick our mentality has become. And by the way, just these things that I'm saying are not just words. There are statistics backing this up. according to the statistics, women who complain about pain in the medical world are taken far less seriously than men who complain about the same amount of pain. During cancer treatment, with the same conditions, women are far more likely to be considered for mutilating their organs than men are. So this is a systematic thing. It's a real thing. I'm not just talking concepts here. So that was the first solution I was proposed. The second solution was taking up various pills that had big side effects, very unhealthy side effects on my body, and that did did nothing to actually cure the problem. And then the third solution were barbaric and very invasive operations where I was supposed to cut my belly and be taken pieces out of it. And something inside of me during that time said, no, this cannot be, there's got to be a better solution than this. And something about my instinct told me that there was something wrong about these solutions. And fortunately, I listened to myself. I refused to take on these solutions, and I went on to a journey to discover myself and to explore myself, to understand my health and how it works, and to change myself. And so I went in through this exploration that lasted for about 10 years, where thanks to my deep curiosity and love for going to the root of the problems rather than staying at the surface, I was able to dig deep, and by changing my diet, by changing my lifestyle, all these factors that affected my health, I was able to completely heal my problem. Completely, absolutely, with no more symptoms. And this was an extremely clear confirmation that the problem was not my body. It was something sick about the environment I was in. And I want to mention that one of the most important things that I did to heal my body on this journey was taking out from my diet all animal products, especially dairy. And I want to mention this for a reason. When we really think about it, how dairy is produced, it makes absolute sense. I mean, think about it for a moment. This energy, which is so incredibly sacred. There's nothing more sacred than maternity energy. This energy is taken in these animals, in these female animals, these women animals that are being raped in order to get them pregnant so that they start producing milk. And then when they finally give birth, their son, their child, is taken away from them with violence and cruelty, and it is killed to make meat, and then the milk is stolen from them. This motherly energy is being suppressed, is being abused, tortured, and squeezed into a product, a machine to use in a factory for selling something for this industry. So it just this one product, the milk carton, just this one milk carton contains so much intensity of this toxic female, if suppressed and abused female energy, that just that enough should be enough to make us sick. So it is no surprise that it was affecting so badly my periods. But female energy is abused everywhere, not just in an animal world. And if we treat female energy in the animal world with such cruelty, such tremendous abuse, by raping it, by torturing it, why should we be surprised that the same happens to the female energy in humans? that women are constantly being raped, violated, abused. Now, I'm not just talking about countries where women have no rights, which unfortunately still exist, or where women are exploited and tortured. I'm talking about our countries, where women are told since childhood to shut up, to obey, to tolerate, and to not stay true to themselves. And of course, there's all their sexuality is violated, their bodies are violated, they're treated with violence, both physical and psychological and mental, and so forth since childhood. If you want to see the extreme effects that this is to the degree that this is happening, you can think about the most quintessential female energy there is, the very essence of female energy, which is our Mother Earth. Mother Earth that gives us her fruits, her gifts. She nurtures us, she hosts us, she gives us so much. And look at the way we're treating her. It is abominable. So why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this because I came to a solution. I came to a kind of enlightenment about this, about the way we're going to solve this. You see, I was one of those women myself, most of my life. I was the typical codependent. And codependency is toxic female energy. It's victimized, it's tolerating of abuse, it's shut up in front of injustice. It's not standing in her truth. And it's giving space to toxic male energy, which is narcissism, which is abusive, which is dominating, controlling. It's annihilating. And one of these days, while I was doing some of my shadow work, I was going into some of my deep negative feelings due to some circumstances that I'm still not completely happy with. My emotional body brought me back to a memory in which someone that I had trusted and loved, or that I thought I trusted and loved completely, someone that I considered a love in my life, had turned against me in the most horrific, cruel and horrible way. I was being humiliated in the most horrible way. I was treated like, I don't want to say an animal, much worse. I was treated like something not human. All my human rights were being ripped off away from me, and I was treated like a piece of garbage, literally. I was in the worst pain of my entire life. I've been in huge pain before. I know what pain is, but that surpassed them all. It was the most horrible, horrific pain that I think a person can feel. And in the midst of all this, I was desperate, I was shocked, I was outraged, and I couldn't understand what was happening, because at the time I still didn't understand these dynamics. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how to heal. And I was trying desperate actions to get out of that pain. I did some desperate things. Like calling that person multiple times, leaving angry emails, or going to their house to try to figure out where he was. That was the moment of my life which I say has catalyzed incredibly my healing. Because something incredible happened during that moment. You see, I was at the bottom of my life, the very bottom. I couldn't get any lower. And there was only one way to go from there. I could either die, or I could do something incredibly courageous that I had never done before. And for the first time, I decided, instead of listening to all these toxic voices that I've been listening all my life, for the first time, I decided to doubt them. I decided to think, what if they're wrong? And instead, I listened fully to my body, to myself. And I did something that took incredible courage. I faced my pain completely. And I can tell you very frankly that facing that pain at that moment was the last thing I ever wanted to do, because it was an immense, atrocious pain. But I did that. I stayed completely present and faithful with my pain and with myself, like I was my best friend, not abandoning myself for 1 minute. And as I did that, something incredible happened. It transitioned my life completely. The more powerful the pain, the more powerful was the transition. And so as I felt completely and my pain, and I allowed myself to go to really feel what I felt and to be truthful to my emotions, to dive into it and to transform it by healing, and to transform by resolving my emotions and processing my emotions, I changed my life entirely. I went from being in a job that I hated, in a workplace that I hated, with a social situation which was very unsatisfying, very unhappy, and the horribly abusive relationship, let's not forget. From there, I went to following my passions, following my dreams and making them happen, starting to surround myself with beautiful people that cared about me, and not being anymore in a toxic relationship. And it was beautiful. It was incredible. It was immense. But the other day I realized that something was still missing. There was still a piece missing to this. There was still something missing to this equation. Because you see, the worst part of that abuse that I went through in that moment, the worst part about that whole painful situation was not the things that those people did to me that caused me to be in such a huge pain. No. It was the fact that as I desperately tried every way I could to get out of that pain, to feel a relief, to find a solution, to make that pain stop, I was shamed, I was criminalized, I was insulted and called crazy and called insane and called wrong and called bad for doing those actions. And so although a lot of my healing journey was from a very good proposition, a part of it came from repressing those actions and trying to fix myself to not be bad again. Trying to make sure I would not do those bad things again, because something was wrong with me and I had to fix myself. And so you see, when I went back into that memory this time, I did something very different. I did the one thing that nobody had ever done for me before in that moment. What I did is I felt empathy for myself. I felt empathy for the horrific, terrifying condition that I was in, for the atrocious and inhumane pain that I was going through, for the horrific actions that those people took towards me to cause me that pain, for the undescribable abuse and violation of my human rights, and just horrific behavior that those people did towards me. I allowed myself to empathize with all of that, and suddenly, I validated my desperate actions for trying to find relief from that horrific pain, as I knew no other or better solution at the moment. And as I validated myself and I became my friend again, something amazing happened. First of all, I felt a huge, humongous, enormous anger, feeling inside of me just being released. Anger for the atrocities that had been done to me. Anger for the horrible, horrible abuse. Anger for the inhumane treatment. And for the cruelty and the mischievousness that I had just witnessed and that I had been hurt by. I gave myself permission to feel all these feelings, to have those reactions, to be a bad person. I gave myself permission to be angry at my abusers for the first time. Because you see, until that moment, I thought that being angry at them was wrong. I thought I was the bad person, not them. And as I did that, I released this huge energy, this huge emotion out of me. It was a huge relief. And then I went deeper, and I went deeper in the past where my trauma originated in my childhood. And I resolved that too. And I was finally free. And finally, for the first time, I understood the teachings of two of my guides that I hadn't been able to understand so far. See, one of my teachers had been telling me that in order to heal codependency, the key to healing codependency is that you need to allow yourself to be a bad person. And I was like, what does she mean? Why a bad person? And finally, I got it. By allowing myself to be the bad person who was judged to be a bad person, who was really just a person having natural reaction to a horrific situation, I finally freed myself. And I finally saw the reality for what it really was. And the other teaching is how urgently we need to release Shakti energy to heal our world. And now I get it. Because you see, Shakti energy is a female energy that is opposite of codependency. It's opposite of victimhood, of suppressed feminine energy. Shakti energy is power, is roar, is freeing yourself completely. It is a savage, a wild female energy. It is not afraid, and it is completely unapologetic. It is not afraid to express all of her anger and outrageousness with this world and with the conditions around her. She will stand up in front of abuse fearlessly and unapologetically, and will not kneel down to it. Shakti energy is our voice released without constraints. Shakti energy is completely untolerating of any form of oppression. She's free to express herself completely and fully. She's destructive, but not destructive in a bad way. She's destructive in a way that allows rebirth. Shakti energy is the power to stand up, to take action, to speak out, to say no or to say yes, and to take action for it. Shakti's energy is not going to just sit there and quietly tolerate the abuse in the world around her. She's going to stand up and she's going to do something about it. And we all need Shakti energy. We all need this energy to take over the toxic, victimized, abused female energy. We need to let her roar. We need to let her take the power of our life and to take action. And we need her to change things radically because our world urgently needs this change. Now I understand. And now I understand that to do this, we need to start feeling empathy for ourselves. Instead of judging ourselves, criticizing us, and judging each other, wasting time judging each other and criticizing each other, we need to give ourselves permission to be bad. We need to give ourselves permission to feel the anger, the outrageousness for what's going on around us. We need to give ourselves permission to feel desperate, to feel the injustice. Allow those emotions out. And as we dive into these emotions and we free them and we process them, we can become free of our own oppression, to take action to change this world. We can be free of our oppressive selves and become powerful and take action to change this world. So, if you're a codependent, oppressed woman, I have a question for you. What is it that you still feel ashamed about? What is it that you still feel wrong about? Where is it that you still feel that you're a bad person? Because I'm giving you permission right now to be that person, and I'm telling you right now that there's nothing wrong with you or shameful about you. And in fact, it is that very part of you that you're ashamed of that needs you the most. So allow yourself to feel angry. Allow yourself to feel outraged. Allow yourself to feel the injustice of the abuse. And stand up for yourself. Because the world needs you. The world needs women like you who will speak up, who will do something, who will not shut up and just sit down when they look at something and they see the abuse around them and they see outrageous injustices around them. The world needs people and women who speak up. And this is not just for women, this is for men too, because we all have female and male energy inside of us. And we both need to heal our toxic, broken feminine energy and our toxic, broken male energy. We all need to heal that together by supporting each other, by being each other's friends and having each other's back and working for the same cause together. We can do this. But we need to free ourselves from judgment, from criticism, from shame, from fear of being a bad person. So where is it that you feel shame? Where is it that you feel bad? I ask you to send love right there, to feel empathy for yourself. Because there is nothing shameful, there's nothing bad about you. And this is all. And with this, it's all. And I hope and I wish you all really, truly love yourself, authentically yourself, and that we all together become free and start to change this world. I'm sending you all my love, and all the best to you.